My name is Debbie Grovum. In April 2002, I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer. I first met with an oncologist at the Sanford Clinic to review my pathology report and treatment recommendations, and I felt like it was really important to get a second opinion before I decided what I was going to do. So my husband and I literally left Sanford Clinic and drove to another clinic for a second opinion, which was very similar to the first one that I got, but it was not quite as aggressive. I decided to go with the Sanford recommendation, which was a more aggressive approach to treating my cancer. I had the most wonderful oncologist, and I researched things. So as soon as I had breast cancer and started my treatment, I was on the internet all the time reading everything that I could. And I would come to every appointment with all kinds of research studies to ask about pages of information. And my oncologist, one, always knew more about the studies than I was able to find on the internet. But he always respected that I came with these questions and this information, and he used to call me his most informed patient. He would even tell me about something and he'd say, well, what have you read about that? And what do you think about that? And I always felt like we were equal partners in deciding what my treatment would be, and I really, really appreciated that. I remember I had my lumpectomy on Wednesday and was expecting to go home the next day. And on Thursday, my surgeon came in to talk with me and said, I'm so sorry, Deb, we have bad news that we didn't get clear margins and we're going to have to do a mastectomy tomorrow. And really, he was more upset giving me that news than I was hearing it. And I appreciated so much how he cared about me as a person when he was relaying that information to me. My husband and I realized early on that this was going to be a long journey and that we needed to not lose our sense of humor. And it was really made apparent to me one day when I was starting to lose my hair from chemotherapy, and I made a quick run into the grocery store and came out with groceries in both arms, and a huge storm was coming up. The sky was black, the wind was whipping, there was lightning flashing, and do you know what I worried about? I thought, oh no, my hair is going to blow off because the wind is so strong, and I couldn't do anything to hold it on because I had groceries in both arms. And I got in the car, and the first thing I did was to look in the mirror to see if I still had hair, and I sat there and I realized I could have been struck by lightning. I could have been hurt by that storm, and I was worried about my hair blowing off, and I just started laughing. And it felt so good to laugh. I think when you are facing a life-threatening illness, you realize that a lot of the things that you normally would worry about and lose sleep over just really aren't that important. And you focus on those things that really matter, and you focus on how you spend your time and what you want to do with your life and what's important. I had 3 really important symbols that were part of my healing. One was a crystal that was a symbol of healing. One was seeing an eagle fly over my car that was a symbol of hope. And one was a book about running a 135-mile ultramarathon in the Death Valley that was a symbol of strength for me. And I kept that book on my bedside table. And on mornings when I just didn't feel like I could put my running shoes on and head out the door, I would look at it, and it inspired me to at least get my running clothes on and my running shoes on and head out the door and run as much as I could, even if it wasn't very far. I was a runner before I was diagnosed, and it was really important to me to keep running. As a matter of fact, it was really important to me to keep my life as much the same as possible. And so I continued to run throughout my entire treatment of chemotherapy, not always running as fast or as far as I used to. And some days it was really hard to get up and put those running clothes on and get outside. But I always felt like if I at least put my running clothes on and I at least get out on the road and move, that's better than not moving at all. You know, we all know intellectually that we're not going to live forever. But after you have cancer, you really know in your heart that you're not going to live forever, and that every day is precious and every moment is precious. And it's really caused me to think about, am I spending my time the way I want to? Am I doing what I really want to do with my life? And to not worry about some of those things that in the past seemed so important, and in the whole scheme of things just really don't seem all that important now. And not that I think about this every day, but if a couple of days goes by and I feel like I'm slipping back into taking my time here for granted, I remind myself about how precious each moment is, and that really has guided my decisions and how I spend my time. My word is life-changing.